All right, so this poem, we're going to start. This is a poem by my dad, and you'll see the kind of man my dad is when we get into this. If I can just find the page. All right, boom. This is better. I'll admit it, I kind of jumped the gun on that one. Poem starts off with a quote: in track and field, there is a rule regarding all sprint races that if the athlete moves within 0.1 seconds after the gun has fired, the athlete has false started. I am 8 years old. Dad is walking me to a friend's house. I tell him, I don't need you to do this for me. Looking back, it must be hurtful to hear such a verbal confirmation that I'm more my mother's son. Dad asks, if someone came after you, what would you do? I'd run. He then points to the park, 2 blocks away. If you can beat me to that tree, then you're old enough to walk by yourself. It has to be that tree in the middle of the park. Beat me there, and you're old enough to walk by yourself. I accept the challenge. I mean, I almost tagged Patrick in tag last week, and he's the fastest kid in school. I got this. Dad said go. No lies, you would have been proud of me, y'all. I was freaking gone. I'm up the first block already. Ain't even gonna look back. I know I'm good. It isn't until I get to the second block that I hear a something in the distance. It sounds like thunder, but there are no clouds. I realize it's not coming from above, but from behind me. I turn around and I see my father, and I feel the fear of God being put in me, realizing this is the first time I've ever seen this man run before. His form was 1936 Jesse Owens Summer Olympics perfect. Mind you, at 8 years old, I have no idea who Jesse Owens is, but I somehow now know, having seen this man, Barry Allen toward me. That's a Flash reference. I don't know why, but I'm thinking, I still got a chance. I can see the tree. I have to be at least halfway there. As soon as I turn my head forward again, I feel the ground shake. I look to my left. Dad was already beside me. He ain't even breathing heavy. You think the worst part of this story is that my father doesn't even acknowledge me as he passes me by, but it isn't. The worst part is that all I see now in front of me is a hot salmon pink colored button up, blowing in the wind, beige shorts, high socks, and flip-flops. This man smoked me in flip-flops. Freaking flip-flops. When I finally make it to the tree, he doesn't smile or say anything, just walks beside me as if nothing happened. And for the rest of the way, I'm hoping that he doesn't tell Mom about this. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I was in like 3rd grade, and that man like had no mercy, like we were playing Mario Kart. My man just wrecked me. And it was flip-flops, man. It's just insult to injury. All right, let's tell you a little more about my family. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so this poem is titled, Such is Genetics. It's a short one. Every so often, Mom stops what she's doing, takes a look at me and says, you look like your daddy. In a manner that's playful, but with a hint of hurt, as if acknowledging an unspoken betrayal of terms I was never privy to. It's like we're on opposite sides of a two-way mirror. I see a reflection of my own in her face staring back at me, but she's on the other side staring at me and seeing my father. She'll either scrunch her face while pursing her lips in a, ain't this some, I can't say that word, in that type of manner, or reflect back to when I was a baby and remind me yet again of my first word while thinking out loud, you give them life. You bring them into the world. You feed them, watch over them, bathe them, burp them. And what's the first word out of their mouth? Daddy. Then, like a... To my defense, I think my first word was duck or soda, but I think daddy was a second. Then, like a broken clock about to be right for the second time in the day, mom sighs her signature sigh, shakes her head, and says in a playfully defeated manner, "Such is life." We had a rule in my house where if I have two brothers. I have a brother and a sister on my mom's side, and I have a brother on my father's side. And I grew up with my mom, and so my brother and sister, Kesey and Travis, on my mom's side would visit a lot. And the rule was, if you can make mom laugh, you can get off of anything. Like you can scot-free. You can get out of anything. I will tell you a story about that later. Let's do any. I'm going to talk about a lot of nerd things later on, like what the definition of a nerd is. But before I do that, I just want to see, are there any cooking show fans in here? I'm going to give you like 3 seconds. Actually, no, you in the red sweater. What's your favorite dessert? Ice cream? What's your favorite cake? Chocolate cake. What's your favorite cake? I am not a chocolate fan. All right, fine. Favorite cake? Wow, are you getting fans of chocolate chip? One more time. You, favorite cake? All right, fine. Carrot? You say, all right, that's too fancy for me. That's that's the upper tax bracket cake right up there. Go ahead. Help me. Tell me, favorite cake? Pound? I'm with you. There we go. My favorite cake is an upside down, I promise I can words. My favorite cake is an upside down pineapple cake. This is a story. What was that? Thank you. I thought I heard disgusting. I was like, I will walk up on you. I will give the check back. Local man escorted out of a high school today for fighting. You're way more fit than me. You would beat me up entirely. So, all right, this is the upside down pineapple cake. And this is about my sister. Kesey, ever the elder sister, played matriarch on my 15th birthday when our mother was in the hospital. She rose to the occasion and tried to make a different type of birthday cake, an upside-down pineapple cake. When the yeast didn't follow her lead, I assured her, it doesn't matter. I'll eat whatever you make. She loves this part of the story. My favorite part of this story is what happened a year later on my 16th birthday when Mom walked out of the kitchen carrying an upside-down pineapple cake, saying, "Oh, I just gave it a shot." In her modest Southern, this old thing manner, the cake was symmetrically perfect. Individual pineapple rings baked into golden halos surrounded by feathers of brown sugar. She even used the pineapple juice in the batter. What? Pineapple juice in the batter. Who does that? We weren't about to eat a cake. We were about to literally consume art. And I remember my sister saying, "Wow, that looks great," but looking like she wanted to say, "Really? Really, lady? You." And I remember my mom saying, "Yeah, I never tried to make this before," but looking like she was really saying, "Yeah, that's right. First try. I still run this kitchen." And that's that poem. My sister, she loves the story until that part. My mom, she's like, "Why'd you do that to me? Why'd you, I was trying She can make it perfectly now, but that cake did not rise. And I was like, oh, whatever you make, Kesey, it's fine. It was not fine. But when you're the youngest, you do. Just raise your hand. Who in here is the youngest sibling? Youngest sibling, you deserve credit because everyone thinks you're the baby. You get whatever you want. No, you have to wait your turn. Your opinion doesn't matter because you're the youngest. Shut up. And if we feel like getting to you, then maybe we'll get to you. Fine. Eldest. Raise your hand if you're the eldest. I have nothing bad to say against you, all right? You guys went to war for the younger children. You are the front line. You deserve medals of honor, all right? Let's be honest, they experimented with you first, they saw what works, and they go to the next one, all right? And that's okay, that's all right. But you are the soldiers. You are the first responders. I salute you. All right. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Where are the middle kids at? Raise your hand. Shut up, Meg. Okay, so, no, I see you. Middle kids, I see you. I see you. I'm married to one. I'm married to a middle child, and it shows. I had to remind her family for our wedding. I was like, hey, don't you treat my baby like a middle child, all right? She's the first one getting married. You're going to respect her choices. And I push everyone to the side. What wedding dress do you want? Pink or red? Pink or red? Pink. All right, then. It's a pink wedding dress. Support. I guess speaking of my wife, let's do this poem. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. You're like, or you're just like, I'm not in class right now, so this is fun. I can stomach this. Let me tell you what I can't stand, algebra. Are there any math teachers in here? There's no math teachers in here? I'm going to talk crap about you guys later. My crowning achievement is I got a D in my geometry test, but I beat my geometry teacher in pool. I was like, you can't reach me, old man. But as you know, all teachers deserve praise. Even the math teachers, I respect you. I still count on my fingers, but I respect you. Let's do this poem here. I have a book, but I still don't know the order. I still have to look at the table of contents. That is my burden to bear. And I have to remember. Oh, there we go. Page 39. All right, we're going to do this, and then we're going to move on to some things you might be more familiar with. This is called For Those Who Need Both Hands to Lift Milner. I assume everyone in here knows what Milner is. Shout it out. Who said sword? Who said sword? No, thank you. Yes, whose hammer is it? There we go. There we go. All right. So this is for those who need both hammers to lift Milner, which is Thor's hammer. My father's basement is a graveyard to everything I was. I'll say it plainly. Everything in Dad's basement is filled with my share of Mom's memories. I can't decide if all the artifacts make up a treasure chest or a mausoleum. Regardless, Tasha, my wife, and I archaeology through the pieces that made up my whole before they became parts of a whole. I'll say it plainly. I've kept holding on to all these pieces of Mom. Now it's time to see what keepsakes I'll keep because I keep everything well kept inside, but physically I can't keep everything unkept as everything I've kept bottled up isn't keeping well. The irony is lost on me that I'm dishing this out of me as I'm unboxing dishes until I spot a jewel at the bottom of the box, this forgotten relic of my mother, thawed out of time. Her cast iron skillet. Tasha is Australian Indian, meaning our culture gap is 2 oceans thick. I explain how a cast iron skillet is the staple of every black household. Sometimes you don't even know how there's one in the house. It just appears one day and you accept it. I am not lying, they just show up. Instantly, I remember Mom cooking, lifting the skillet from the stove with one hand, while I need 2 just to hold it. I wonder if my negligence made it heavier, as the rust has spread thick as the cancer that took its previous chef's life. But Tasha believes the relic is still salvageable. When we get home, she turns my sister's kitchen counter into an operating table. Lady Macbeth to spot a corrosion with steel wool before baptizing the skillet in the sink. Every time she pulls it up from the water, she inspects it as if looking for a pulse of a memory, while my sister and I watch from the doorway, both too afraid of what this resurrection may unbox from us. But Tasha Tasha can't let dead things lie. For 2 nights in a row, she oils the pan and heats the oven. On the 3rd night, she calls me into the kitchen saying, it's done. She hands the skillet over while smiling before telling me, I hope you know this is mine now. And I'm about to argue that this iron is my birthright, but I don't, because I see how many hands she needs to lift it. She only needed 1 hand. My wife is really stronger than I am. You know what? Oh, let's go back here and check this. I've always wanted to do the whole from a podium thing. Yeah. Give my best Barack Obama impression. Oh, my fellow Americans, do you believe that Young Jeezy is the best rapper alive, and I'm showing my age. So maybe I'll say I really like listening to Drake. My Joe Biden impression isn't that good. It's just, I'm awake. This is what happens when you do things on the spot. Actually, you know what? Let's do this instead. I will lead into that. Yeah, you don't know what's coming. I'm making this up on the fly. Yeah, this is poetry, baby. Anything can happen. Revelations and whatnot. So back when I stopped doing poetry I stopped performing for, do you guys, I know you guys have had other poets come through here, I'm sure. So you guys are you familiar with what slam poetry is? Okay, so you're competing, you go up on stage, you compete in front of a bunch of strangers, and then those strangers are gonna hold numbers up and tell you if your poem sucked or not, basically. They're gonna judge your art and whatnot. So there used to be a thing, Chicago had a really great team. Every city had a team represent them. Well, a bunch of cities had a team represent them. And they'd all come together and they compete against each other to see who the top team was. They were doing this from, I guess from the late 80s up until up until about 2016, 2017. It took a pause. And I did it from about 2006, 2007 to 2014. Are you guys familiar with, do you guys know who Robbie Q. Telfer is? Yeah, he's a good poet from Chicago. He beat me in Scrabble, though, so don't tell him I complimented him at all or anything like that. I'm like, yo, Robbie Q. Telfer's my hero. And then we're playing Scrabble. He's like, you can't use that word. I was like, screw you, Robbie Q. Telfer. I don't like you anymore, man. So I'm going to do this poem that I guess I was known for in... Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. It's been a very long time, and I hopefully don't... It should be fine. It should be fine. Just come with me on this journey. It'll be fine. This poem is called Jesus Christ Super Toaster. Yeah, exactly, huh? That's what I thought when I first heard the commercial for it. But it's a real thing, and I will tell you the tale of how it came to be. So this is called Jesus Christ Super Toaster. During a phone conversation over religion, I told my ex that I didn't pray. I believe in God, but it was just something that I didn't do. After this discovery, she said she didn't know if she could date me anymore. Said I wasn't devout in my faith. I said, hold on. How are you going to judge me? Saying I'm lost. Saying I'm not devout in my faith. Saying I'm not a man because I like to sleep with a sunflower nightlight on. I didn't say that. You told me that was a Glade plug-in. Whatever, yo. Listen. I then proceeded to school her on a small company in Vermont that produced a toaster that burns the image of Jesus Christ onto slices of bread. I don't know what the name of the company is called. It's actually Burt Impressions. So let's just call it freaking awesome, because $40 later, plus shipping and handling, guess who's got a freaking awesome toaster? That's right, me, and it doesn't stop there. This toaster knows no race, gender, or creed. It accepts all types of bread equally. I'm talking white bread, rye bread, pumpernickel, raisin bread, sourdough, I even customized it so that when the toast pops up, the toaster goes, and freaking doves fly out. Now, if that isn't devotion, I don't know what is. Then I told her, how you gonna judge me when I see devil ham in your pantry? What? Blasphemous. Devil dogs in your delicatessen. What? That's straight blasphemous. I Me? I have breakfast with Jesus every day. Can I get some sour cream? Now, who said they can't believe it's not butter? What? You can't believe? Let the Breakfast Club say amen. Now pass the jam. Said I love me some Jesus. Well, my Jesus is great. Ha, my Jesus is strawberry preserves and whole wheat. My Jesus is delicious as I can't say that word, with some cream cheese when I die. My will shall dictate that I be buried with my Jesus Christ super toaster. I don't know what the actual name of it is. That's what I call it. And when I roll into heaven on a fire-breathing yellow hippopotamus, iPod in one hand. I still have an iPod, leave me alone. Jesus Christ super toaster in the other hand. Jesus is going to be all, what up, Omar? I'll be like, nothing. He'll say, that's cool. And I'll say, here, this is for you, Jesus. And he'll be like, what? And when he sees that first piece of toasted delicious pop up in front of him, making him think he's looking in a stained glass breaded mirror, Jesus will be like, oh my God, this is hot, son. Now I know what you're thinking, and yes, this is what Jesus sounds like in my head and on Zoom. He'll be all happy saying, yo, Dad, it's me, check it out. Where Lucifer at? I'm gonna rub it in his face like, stings, don't it? Take that, take that. Now mind you, she actually hung up somewhere around Jesus being delicious with cream cheese. But I kept going on anyhow. Because the way I see it, if heaven has a sense of humor, money, so in there. And if it doesn't, well, I had a good run. And I hope they'll accept my toaster where I'm going. So from the reaction of what that was it was an actual thing. They had other things that would get burnt onto medicinal things that would get burnt onto the toast as well. But it was a commercial. And it was for a Jesus Christ. It was a Jesus super toaster. Now I'm like, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my life. I must write a poem about this. And I will tell you I wrote about the behind the scene of that. So this is called Prelude. So we hear this commercial about a toaster. 2 to 3 times a week, I drive my mother from Lodi, New Jersey to get chemotherapy at Sloan and Kettering in New York. It's a trip neither of us want to take. Her, because she doesn't want to have cancer, obviously. Me, because I don't want my mother to have cancer. Also obvious. And driving in New York is like Mario Kart. We do what we must regardless. On one trip, we hear a commercial for a toaster from a company called Burnt Impressions, not just any toaster. A toaster that sears the image of Jesus onto slices of bread. I can't tell you anything else that advertisement said, but for the rest of the drive, we laugh at the commercial. We were still laughing at it while Mom was getting her chemo done. I take out my laptop, sit beside her chair, and start writing a poem about this Jesus toaster, showing each line to her to make sure I'm not gonna be hella blasphemous. We've never done this before. Usually, when she's going through her chemotherapy, she'll tell stories of my sister and brother where I was too young to remember. When she gets to me being born, let's be honest, and that's the best part, and our time together up until now, she always stops for a moment, looks at me, then says, it's always been the two of us. It's always been the two of us against the world. This is titled New Ways to Smile, an Epilogue. That is not the poem I wanted to talk about. Now I gotta fill time with banter to make it look like I actually know what I'm doing on this stage because my eyes have tricked me. But I should have known by now I'm actually going to this poem, which is called Echo of an Epilogue. When you were here, you'd say, I won't always be around to do this for you. When you weren't around anymore, you said, Isabel Holman had 3 children. I'm the youngest. When I was in trouble, she'd stumble through the first 2's names before getting to mine. Kesey, Travis, Omar. Depending on how much trouble I was in It was just my job to know who she was addressing. Trap, Keith, you know who you are. Come over here. You know how you hear the ocean when you put your ear to a shell, a seashell, but you know it's not the ocean? It's just the coincidence that the calm of nothing sounds so familiar. I wish there was something of yours left that I could put my ear to and hear the familiar of your voice stumbling for my name. This is probably, usually when I get to this section of the poem, it's like, oh wow, the poems are getting deeper, and I just keep like the silence going in, but I will see. Any of you guys heard of Scott Pilgrim? All right, so there's a series of books called the Scott Pilgrim, and they're each titled different, they have different titles. This title comes from the fifth book, and it's Precious Little Life. And this is it's my favorite title, so this poem is called Precious Little Life. I'm 15 at a small circus. My mother is trying to convince me to ride the elephant. Let me tell y'all something. I don't want to ride the elephant. I am now on the elephant. Correction, I am now on the elephant with a bunch of 5-year-olds. Elephants are self-aware and able to recognize their own reflection in a mirror. I'm 21, and mom is telling me a story about an elephant in the zoo that recognized a man that wronged him years ago. When the man gets close to the cage, the elephant grabs him and chokes him to death with its trunk. Mom says, I wonder what the man did to piss the elephant off that much. This prompts me to speak for the elephant and say, you son of a, I told you I wanted Jif peanut butter. You thought I couldn't tell that was Skippy? You thought I wouldn't remember that? Mom laughs till her cheeks are all waterfall. Elephants have the largest brains of all land animals. The larger the mass, the better the memory. I am 25 when my mother says she knows how much I've always wanted a pet, so she got me one. I'm like, yes, I got a puppy. She says, no, but it starts with the P. In my room, there's a bamboo plant placed inside the back of a ceramic green elephant. The elephant is posed mid-March. She says, it made me think of you, how you're always on the go. I named the elephant after my favorite book, Precious Little Life. I'm 26 and writing a poem about the different names given to describe a group of animals. My teammate points out that a group of elephants is called a memory. Elephants have been known to die and remain standing well after death. I'm 26, and mom is laying down in a hospital bed. Elephants will travel to where members of their herd have died and mourn their loss. I'm 26 and migrating to the hospital for 2 weeks, naive to the inevitable. I just turned 27, and a loss of my mother has become the elephant in the room. Migration becomes second nature to me now. I move out of our apartment. I move in with a friend. I can move everything but on. Weeks later, the friend apologizes for his cat knocking over my bamboo plant. He glues the elephant back together, but the damage is still visible. How fitting that if you look close enough, you can see all the cracks in my precious little life. Proffer. In track, any track athletes in here? My people. I did the pole vault. In track, we're running a relay event. The best way to receive a baton pass is to judge the distance of the incoming teammate. When they're close enough, the receiver will turn away, sprint forward. The passer may shout an audible call, such as up or here, 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 to let the receiver know that they're within passing range. The receiver will then throw an arm back, outstretched and high, palm, underhand, facing the passer. When the receiver feels the baton within their grasp, they will grip the baton and pull it into the stride. The passer will let go of the baton slightly before the receiver's pull. This must be done within the relay zone, marked by a row of yellow triangles on the track, 20 meters apart. If the pass is not received within the zone, the team is disqualified. If the baton is dropped at any point, the team is disqualified. This event is where the idiom "to pass the baton" stems from, meaning to pass the job or responsibility onto someone. It is a gesture that's more crucial than simple. It depends on both teammates. Like marriage, my sister told me of a time when she saw my father, who was then her stepfather, and my mom, who was our mother, exchanging pet names with one another. In the kitchen, fondness, grandfather clocking between the two, back and forth. I only know time from when their pendulum stopped, and all I ever saw was them exchange. They just exchanged distance. When I was in track and field, I did the 4x400 meter relay. I always ran final position on the relay team, the anchor leg. The anchor leg is responsible for either making up lost ground on the race leader or preserving the lead. I never made up for lost ground. A few weeks after the funeral, my father calls as if I've enrolled in something. He's asking me about it. Have I done this? About a 401k, already knowing I haven't. He's frustrated, but I don't really know or think he's mad at me. So I ask, why are you so adamant about this? Because I want to go to sleep, and your mother won't let me. She keeps coming in my dream, telling me to make sure you're all right, telling me to make sure you're okay. I just want to sleep. I give the old man some clarity by reminding him that he and mom hated talking to each other. I assure him, this is just in your head. Dad says, we'd still call each other back and forth. Each time we did, we talk about you. When we hang up, I do what my father asks of me. Then imagine mom visiting dad that night for the last time, back in that same kitchen, walking 20 meters toward him, casually passing him the baton while saying, here, your turn. Let's pick the mood up a little bit. Please. Pretty women love puns. During brunch with the woman I love more than my own life and the siblings she protects with all of her own, she has taken a picture of all of us, herself included, and dubbed it the Breakfast Club, where that would be enough for most. My love is not most. And an Instagram caption must be more than enough in order to do the most for the moment at hand. She's come up with punny brunch names for everyone, but is stuck on the coup de grace of her own. I assess the situation. She's wearing purple, which reminds me that she likes grapes, which makes me think of John Steinbeck's book. I ask if she likes crepes. Of course she does. And then it hits me. I lean back in my chair, thanking the heaven above for this blessing, as in, oh my God, Holy Spirit's its way out of me. She knows I got something good. I say, you're gonna wanna marry me after this. She replies, I already do. Tell me. I stare at her face lovingly, then matter-of-factly, and say, crepes of wrath. That's good, all right? Her jaw, a withdrawn drawbridge from amazement. I, knowing full well, this is by far the best pun I'll ever make. Smug as I've ever been, with arms spread eagle, ask repeatedly, how much do you love me right now? The words rush out of her mouth as a welcome party of affirmation as she hits post, turns to me, shows a pearl throne room smile, and says, I'd marry you on the spot. She doesn't know. That's about my ex, but we're still friends. It's fine. My wife's like, you got a lot of poems about the exes, man. I'm like, it did not work out. I got you in there. It's like, yeah, but I share with your mom. So it's not, I'm like, are you really like, you want your, you need your own feature film? I'm like, all right. So we are going to do this poem, and then we're going to navigate things. I used to do this poem and know it by heart, but now that I'm an old person, I just read it off the page. And also now that I am an old person, it takes me a while to find things. All right, cool. Let me just check that time one more time. Cool. Oh, God, I'm so good at this. All right. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. So, this is 10 things I want to say to a black nerd. All 16 of us in here. After Jennifer Falu's 10 things I want to say to a black man. 1, it's so hard being a black nerd. 2, the books you love don't have many heroes or villains that look like you. It's not the color, but the content of the characters that keep you reading. 3, you thank God for Donald Glover and his songs as Childish Gambino. I am dating myself right here, but whatever. If you know Donald Glover and Childish Gambino, then you know greatness. Listening to him is like having Nikola Tesla sitting shotgun in a DeLorean while doing donuts in a GameStop parking lot, top down as Tesla says, is that the new Afrofuturism mixtape? Homie, turn that music up for Batman's superpower is generational wealth and stock options. That has nothing to do with the rest of this poem. I just felt it really needed to be said. 5, there's nothing more beautiful than a black nerd girl. Anytime you hear proof of them repping their fandoms, you dance revolution around your heart. If she has natural hair and wants to converse about Converse, plus 10 damage points. Talks trash whenever she beats you in Mario Kart, plus 25 skill points. If she watches Craig of the Creek and writes her own fan fiction, there's no calculation for how amazing that is. 6, when you get the girl, you'll remember every detail, like how the paint on her nails chips into isolated islands. When you get the boy, you'll reminisce on how he made Oblivious look like the new abstinence. When you have each other, you'll recall the memory as an 8-bit adventure. Call it old school, call it classic, whatever symbolizes that the moment was an arcade high score you both achieved together. 7, your most hood moment was on Game of Thrones when they killed Ned Stark. Even as I mentioned it like 10 years ago, this was just like, everyone loved this line. Like, what is that? You mean the Targaryen show now? No, Game of Thrones, it was great. Even as I mention it now, inside you're saying to yourself, they killed my dude Ned, man. They killed my dude Ned. For those that don't know, Ned Stark's death is equivalent to when hip-hop heads lost Biggie Smalls or when Friends went off the air for white people. 8, your black friends say, and no reply. All the adults are like, I get that. All the kids are like, what is Friends? I don't what? 8, your black friends say, hand over your black card because you never watched The Wire. Your white friends think, having watched The Wire, it's okay for them to say they're blacker than you are since nerd is the new black. So everybody want to be a nerd, but don't nobody want to be a nerd. 9, a nerd off is the closest you will ever come to battle rap. It occurs whenever someone corrects you on a topic obnoxiously. If you engage in this battle royale effects, your retort should always sound something like this. Actually, Blade is the movie that kickstarted all the other superhero movies, and once you see that look of, oh, they're about to murder me on their face, you Highlander them with the stare that says, you gonna get this work because I'm a Grayskull graduate with a master's in the universe and you ain't bout this life B10. It's so hard being a black nerd, slinging 6-sided die in a block, keeping it retro when you pop out the Nintendo 64 like a 6-4 Impala, all black, everything because that's what you've always been. Everything from Chuck Taylors to lightsabers, from press start to game over. Now, if we just navigate over here. For what? Oh, that's it. Oh, really? I thought it was like an hour. Oh, okay. All right. I'll just read this to myself as y'all live. Wow. I hope you guys had a good time. Yeah, man. Wow. That was easier than I thought. Oh, I didn't get to do any essays. Nice. Of course. Hello. You are hilarious. You are hilarious. You are hilarious.
Come on down, say hi to Omar Holman. Have a great afternoon, 7th hour.
This has been the most entertaining Writers Week the whole
Oh,
week.
I'm so happy.
There was really no black people here.
Oh yeah, I saw. She gave me the breakdown. And I was like, okay.
No black people here.
I was like, oh, 216 out of how many? 3,000. Golly. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There are really black people in this room.
Thank you. I am really freaking trying so hard. I'm so hard.
Where are your books?
Oh, they're over here. I do not know. I can sign them. Yes, I can do